Yeah, I probably spent a good time checking the standings more before the playoffs, and then had kind of just stopped. At that point, I checked after Memphis, so I was 12 or whatever it was, maybe after BMW. Well, I knew I was 12, so figured I had like a chance to make the team, wasn't sure. And then, yeah, I talked to Jim just about it. To be quite honest, I was just looking for a yes or no, which I didn't get because I would have liked to start my off season, or if not, I would like to just know I was working towards something. But obviously, yeah, super stoked when he did call. But yeah, I stayed practicing just in case I got the call.
What was that like in terms of being stopped off? You weren't thrilled about making at times. You know, you're not exactly happy with where you are. You still really want to like make your case.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Like if it weren't for the weekend of BMW, I would have felt pretty apprehensive about being picked. But I played so much better, and I've really just been fighting a driver the T-ball. And I just made an adjustment Friday night, called a buddy of mine, and he just gave me some advice after I sent him some swings. And I went out that Saturday, and I was unsure, but changed a bunch of stuff in my setup that morning, and then I missed one fairway for the day, and then went out again Sunday and drove it great again. So I was like, okay, like I'm not as worried about my own like game if I were to play the President's Cup. So that did wonders for my confidence and how much I actually like really not wanted to be picked, but how comfortable I would have been being picked. Yeah, no, my golf swing feels great. It's nice. I just needed some time. I just don't think people understand how impressive it is when golfers like, a Scotty or a Wyndham or, anyone on our team goes through like a week slump and then it ends. Like, it's just not that easy. And, the back end of our season, it goes from the Open, then you fly all the way home, then we have playoffs, and you just don't get a lot of time to really like go through and like work things out as fast. So having 2, 3, 4 weeks off to work on it, and I use Napa just as like a check in that checking the box of like, okay, how's this going to be in competition? And I was really pleased with how I drove the ball there, and so it was good.
Thanks for playing so well for so long. So what was the internal feeling like when you weren't playing well, trying to find something? How difficult was that for you given how well?
It's I guess not that difficult. It's just frustrating. Golf's just a frustrating game. So I've seen the bottom of this game on tour, so it's not like new to me. But I've always considered myself a grinder. I work my ass off, and I like that aspect. It just felt like in a way at times golf just wasn't being very fair to me. I wasn't really getting back what I was putting in, and that part can get you a little bit tilted. But as I've gotten older, I realized it's a long career. I got a lot more golf in front of me, so it's just trying to get better for the future at times, and I know that stuff will work itself out. I don't know. I haven't really spent much time thinking about it. I don't think should. I mean, could, yeah. I guess I could play devil's advocate to both. One, like these events make a ton of money, and we are on TV playing the golf. But on the other side of the coin, I think we have been given so much as professional golfers, and to get to do this is about as fun as you'll ever have. So to do it for free is also fine. So I get everyone's point of view. I don't think it should ever really be a hot button topic. I don't think it's the end of the world either way. But yeah, I get why there's like why it can become a talking point. I just don't think that it's a massive issue either way.
In that kind of event, how crucial can be the first day where I guess you want to silence the crowd and give the message to the other team that it might be close to them after the first day?
Yeah, it's important. Obviously, we got punched in the mouth the first day in Rome, and that set the tone. But also, especially when you have a lot of guys who are experienced on the team, you realize there's just so many. They just kept talking about there's so many points left, and there's so many points in singles. So all of us on both teams are good enough to win our match. So you could, theoretically sweep, and that wouldn't be insane. So. Yeah, I mean, it means a bit maybe to the emotions, but when you have great like leaders like we have had on our teams and we have this year, I think it's just the talking point turns to, hey, like there's just a lot of golf left, so don't get down.
And on the mental side, how do you manage this kind of event the same way you would do for classic tournament, or is
Well, it's a little different. We're on everyone else's time. That would be the only difference. But I mean, yeah, mentally, yeah. I mean, it's just like a normal event, preparing the same way best we can, going through the same checklist, and we probably play a bit more golf than I typically would on a normal week, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just different.
Something different, I guess, on this event is to bring some energy to the other members. If you're an energetic guy, you think that it's one of your roles to bring some energy, and what do you think that you can do to do that?
Yeah, I mean, well, energy is simply brought on by, good golf. So you need to start with good golf always. But, yeah, I just think I've gotten along with all the guys on the team. I've known a bunch of these guys forever. The guys I haven't known that well, I've gotten to know really well this week. So I just try to be the glue guy. Just try and keep everybody positive, make sure everybody's having a good time, and put themselves in the best mindset to play their best golf. Yeah.
comment on that, or shed some light on some of the side actions and the ideas that those guys have to keep going?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that I've loved all our assistant captains. I've gotten really close with Stuart Sink over the years, Steve Stricker, all the guys. I was lucky to know Fred, before I played on the teams. But having guys like Kiz has been one of my closest buddies out here for a while. Just like maybe a little closer to our age that we've played a lot of golf with. I think Kiz has just made things really light in the team room. Same with Brant. I mean, they've just been like a ball of joy. So, and Kiz is our punching bag, which is always quite nice. So I would love for him to have to take his shirt off. We're obviously stealing it from the Solheim Cup, but it would be great to see that have to happen. I'm sure you might need to ask Xander. Xander's been kind of leading that charge. I've been solo. Unfortunately, not working with Mark anymore. So for the 3-4 weeks at home, I just kind of did a bunch of setup changes and just got to work through that. Just like I said, time away. It's tough when you have a week at home and you have to get ready for a tournament because you can spend a day or two fiddling, but then you realize I need to make sure I find a golf shot that works, and you just try to grind that in. So it's been a little different in where you have some time to mess with some things and just hit your stock golf shot until it feels good and then get going.
So when did that end? Someone new, or are you doing it yourself?
No, I've been just doing it by myself. I've got a buddy that I've sent some videos to, and we've chatted a bunch about the golf swing. But for the most part, Joe's actually taken a big role, especially in the setup stuff, just checking ball positions and distance to the ball and things like that.
You all split after BMW?
After Memphis.
Is it just time for change?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a tough year. Yeah, you just have time for change. I mean, it's unfortunate. I love Mark. He's basically a part of my family. He's just been an amazing human being, past just being a great coach and smart man. But yeah, just at times you just the communication gets hard, and I think everybody in here has gone through that at some point. So it's just one of those things. More for me, I just needed a break, and sometimes I don't do a good job of taking ownership of my own golf swing. So kind of putting the ball in my court a bit, and trying to figure it out myself. I mean, as much as a coach can be brilliant and a genius like Mark, I know my golf swing better than everybody. I've seen mine more than, and I can feel it. So just trying to take some ownership of that.
Do you think form, can it be overrated, your form the last couple months, can it be overrated relative to your experience now in the competitions and your success? Is that made on your thing?
Yeah, I'm not going to speak for him. I don't really know. I would assume that was it, but if we went strictly off of form at the end of every week, I think it would be silly. So yeah, I mean, I'm playing very well right now. I feel really comfortable, and I think it's potentially he thought to himself that with a few weeks I can get a lot done. So I'm not going to speak for him, but I don't think it's necessarily overrated. But I do think experience in this matters, and I know I've proven myself, and I've shown that on these kind of microscope stages I've done quite well. So I'm imagining that factored in a bit.
What did you think?
I think that's fairly innate, but just in general, I mean, I didn't feel like I played well this year, and I got to BMW, so like those things, just keeping that in perspective and realizing that if my bag golf is this, then that's not so bad. I got third at the Masters, played in the final group on a Saturday, second last group Sunday, so like I still had a very fun year, definitely more downs than ups at times, but yeah, I mean, I just think maybe not. It's just something that as you get older, you start to realize these things that, if your bad's not awful, then you're making playoffs and all those things. That's it. That's an important thing to keep in the back of your mind. Because like I said before, I mean, it's going to be a long career. I'm just trying to keep, chugging. It's not going to be a straight line up.
Just curious to know if you had if you did some sports thing when you were young, and what's your best memories playing
Other sports?
Or
my best sport outside of golf is basketball. I'm not going to sit up here and say I'm going to wax anybody, but that was my best one. But I do miss the team sport, so getting to do this is really awesome. It gets to be a bit lonely on tour. I have Joe, and I have my wife on the road a lot of weeks, but being at the golf course and getting this whole group of guys, and we're constantly playing together and going home and eating with, our wives and doing all that, that's very fun.
Played basketball in high school?
No, I quit everything before high school.
Okay.
Because you're starting to be known as kind of those guys who play clubs, is it healthier for you to like believe that yourself and buy into that content, or do you need to like no, I haven't. I don't know which mindset's better.
I know how good I am, so I just lean on that. And I know I've had some good success in these things, so I just use it as fun, Had Justin Thomas sent me he found like a highlight reel of my last President's Cup and maybe Ryder Cup, so it's just cool to have those moments to reflect on, and I feel very lucky to have those, but I do definitely lean on them. That I look at it more like when the lights got bright the last couple team events, I've made big putts on the last couple holes, so that's cool. Yeah, I mean, he's been a humongous part of this year, the last couple of years for me, and especially this last maybe 3 months. Just very helpful, and he's just like a very kind human and a great friend, because I'm sure, I know he's not happy he's not here, but he wouldn't have noticed it the way he has been talking to me and doing all that.
What's like not having Jake here around or first time in a while with those two? Who's stepping up and
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Everybody on all the teams I've been on has been like a great person to go look at and lean on and be a leader. I've just been closest with, just from growing up, Justin. So it's weirder for me not having him, but I mean, I was talking to him most of yesterday afternoon and night. So, I mean, they might not be here physically, but I know that they're in people's ears. But like I said, our team has a lot of great leaders. If you looked at any of these guys, they're great to chat with. They're great to pick their brain. So I wouldn't even be able to pick one. I mean, Xander does a really amazing job of getting everybody involved, being funny, making it light. But yeah, I think you could pick anybody, and you would pick a good person to lean on.
I was just going to ask a little bit mixed reviews of the course so far. What's your take on Royal Montreal as a match play venue, and kind of what does it present to the challenge?
Oh yeah, no, I really like it. It's very interesting. The front nine's incredibly different from the back. The greens are interesting. They all have like a spine in them. It seems like if you're hitting your irons well, you're going to have a lot of short-ish birdie putts, and they'll be quite flat. But if you don't hit your spot, you're going to have some funky two putts. So it'll be interesting for the best ball days or matches, because the rules typically try to get 2 birdie looks, but if you're not in the right section, it's kind of like an up and down. So I think that'll be cool. I like it though. It's challenging. It's longer than I thought. I know that they've added some length. It's pretty demanding, and we've played in a lot of wind the last couple of days, so that might have thrown us off a little bit as far as like what the golf course might lead to with birdies and whatnot. Today wasn't exactly a birdie fest out there, but it looks like the wind's going to die down. So with the rain, I think you'll see some low scores, but I don't think as low or as many birdies maybe as a typical cut from what I've been involved in. Yeah, I haven't felt rushed like for a second this week. And I do think it's good. I think the guys that had qualified played a big role in that. I think they did a very good job. I know after the Ryder Cup, a bunch of us were just kind of talking about what we could do differently, especially going on away trips. And I think this has been awesome. I think everyone's done like a 10 out of 10 job. It's been cool. I don't feel like I haven't done enough. And at times in the cuts with all the obligations we have, there's just a lot of things you have to do. You don't necessarily get to spend a ton of time practicing before and after, and I feel like we've had plenty of time. Well, we've had a great core. I think, you have people like Scotty, Sam. Keegan's going to be the Ryder Cup captain next year, so he's been in tune with what everyone's been saying from previous cups. And then we have people like Xander and Pat, and just guys are going to be on the team every year. And those guys, I think, have just taken a strong role in that, and just saying, hey, from the player side. But I mean, and all the things. I mean, Zach, Jim, Davis, like they're all players too, so they know. It's just how much can you change and try to find a good idea. And I feel like getting here a day and a half early was a great idea. Quarter. Cornerback. I'll go with quarterback. Man, what a great question. It's like you want to say like Joe Burrow because he's so cool. I'm just going to say Joe Burrow out of my own. I feel like when the lights get bright, he's nice and calm. I've always appreciated that about him. So, I just feel like he's got that it thing that, you've heard the other players around say he doesn't panic, and I'd like it. I mean, I think that people have looked at me like that a little bit, so I'll go with Joe. I don't have that. I had that back in junior high, maybe. It was not a good look. Yeah, well, we've had matches every day, but I think everybody's been trying to make a buck here and there.
Is that useful, do you think, though? I mean, is it kind of getting prepared for competition? Does that actually help?
Yeah, I do it most every week we play in some fashion, as long as I can play with somebody I know pretty well. But like most majors, that's what we do, because we don't have a pro-am, so we have an extra day to play. But I typically find somebody and we'll play some kind of game. I do think it's good. Gets you in the competition mindset and gets you out of just like technique and this and that. You got to get the ball in the hole. So I do think that's important.
Is that true? Xander's like that wild man? Kind of going like a complete degenerate out there.
I mean, he's just a wild human being in general. So I don't know if it stops there. Yeah, it was bizarre. I kind of just started last off season. I wasn't swinging the club well, and I just felt like I was throwing mud at the wall all year and could not find anything that would stick. I think at the end of my days, the win in Africa will go down in the history books of just like, how the hell did I do that? And it's something I lean on. It shows that even when it's bad, I can make it good. But probably spent too much time throwing the mud and not enough just trying to figure out how to get the ball in the hole. But yeah, I do think though in the positive side, I learned a lot and I got a lot better at things I sucked at. Things that probably you all would not see, but I know that now that the T-balls are good, I think that the rest had to really work on my patience. I had to really almost like find reasons I love this game at times, but getting through it is always nice, and I always think it ends up propelling you further if you can come out the other side of it. What was that? Why I love golf? I'm just addicted to trying to get better at something, and when it's going really well, at times it can be boring to practice. This was not a boring year by any means. So yeah, I just realized that like even little wins, like I just go back to like I had no intention of like celebrating when I made the cut at the Open. And when that just comes out of you, I think you just realize, man, I really love this. I just wanted to play for 2 more days. Amidst an entire year, it seems silly, but I just wanted 2 more days. And I think just getting to remind yourself that, like, I would rather be doing nothing else, even playing bad golf at times. There's nothing else outside of getting to, like, hang out with my family. Outside of that, it's like there's nothing I would choose other than getting to compete, even if it's not going great. So I think getting that reminder is a good thing.
Do you think that this week is going to bring some of that similar energy out of you like we saw?
Maybe, I don't know. I just really love being around these guys. I love competing with them. I just think this is like the coolest thing we get to do. So, yeah, I just think I'm going to be in a tremendous mood, and it's a special week too, because if you're not playing great, I mean, you have like one of the greatest golfers on planet Earth helping you. So that's pretty different than a normal tour event.
If you were to go back to the version of yourself that was present at the game 2 years ago, what advice would you give the knowledge you have now?
I don't know. I would probably keep my mouth shut because I've done pretty good in these things. So I think I'd say just keep doing what you're doing. What would they give to me? I think it's important to smell the roses and appreciate being here. I think not taking it for granted that I get to play in this is a big part of it. Being very grateful for the opportunity to get to compete with the 11 other best players from my country, I think is something that I think the more I appreciate that, the more out of my head I get, and the more just joy I have playing golf, and I do think that's important. I had multiple, fortunately and unfortunately, I guess. I don't know my favorite part. I missed the cut in the second time, the last time I got it, and so I spent the weekend in Jack's Beach with all the no laying up boys, and I would just say that weekend was incredibly fun. I went to the if people made on 9, if they made a birdie, you got $1 beers. So I went with them there. I think they were like sponsoring it. So I went there, we wore a ridiculous outfit, and then drank a bunch of beers when my friends made birdies. So that was very fun. The card ceremony kind of is a bit of a blur, but the stuff around it's cool. Just being with the guys, I think my class of 14, I think it was, had just a ton of guys who ended up playing on tour very successfully, and major champions and all that. So just getting to have those memories, those guys, is pretty cool. If you don't say Scotty Scheffler, you are a dumb person. Late? Oh, that's a good question. Hold on. Most likely to be late, I'm going to say Wyndham. I like Saya's answer. Probably Harm. I like country, but I think his country is like real country, so I'm going to pass on Harm. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, it's been great. I've known Xander a long time, so it's always funny when people say, oh, you get to see a different side of him. I fortunately and unfortunately get to see this side of him. He's a pot stirrer. He is witty, funny. Yeah, he's just he's everything you'd want in like a buddy. So it always irks me when people are like, oh, he's so boring. I've seen that so much, and it's like it's been fun seeing him be so successful this year, and I feel like more has come out about how great of a guy he is and great teammate, all those things. So yeah, he just talks a lot of shit, and I mean he's been just absolutely abusing Brant this week, so it's been quite fun. No, I think that's like the beauty of Xander is I think people think he's boring because he has his golf mode, and it works really, really well. So I would never change that. I just think he's been interviewed more, and people don't ask him the same dumb question of why haven't you won more. So I think, I think he just getting to actually answer questions when he's winning 2 majors a year, it's not as, it's not those typical questions. It's more questions that you'd want to be asked. So yeah, I think I think that's probably helped the most. But no, he's never changed. He's always been a kind dude. Like I said, talks a lot of trash, confident, but in all the best ways.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Thank y'all.